And while we're loading, I see Game Slayer's in the lobby. Congratulations to Game Slayer for beating PB at last.
Yeah. It was good work. Haven't seen that before, so that was definitely a nice little change to everything.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Welcome to game number 2 in our best of 3 semifinal between Cubit and Blues. Game number 1 going over to Cubit with a nice little area letting him create glass as a scientist in a heavily glass-consuming environment. So, always rather convenient.
We may not see scientific on this map.
This map's looking not so fun. Just immediately.
I'd be thinking robotic, maybe in the east. Especially with the U.S. colony consuming power.
Yeah, robotic is where I would probably be leaning as well.
Yeah. You got silicon. Yep, oh, there we go.
Has been identified.
Blues read my mind.
Blues wants it. He didn't want it that badly.
And for no debt.
No debt,
I mean,
yeah.
That's good. I like that.
Ooh.
I mean, Cubit's got the extra claim and the earlier... Oh, but Cubit got... Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
That founding location, though, I'm nervous about that.
Cubit, you mean?
There's just not a lot of space there.
Yeah, I would have gone... Oh, jeez, I don't know. Maybe the spot to the west, a little to the west of it?
Yeah, there was that area just a little to the west with maybe a little more space. The problem is there's not even that much there because, of course, you're hitting the edge of the map, and it's just... Everything gets awkward. Maybe it was just the best second option, but I gotta say, I don't know if that extra claim was worth being so confined in a game with EMPs and slowdown strikes.
Yeah,
that's the big concern here.
It wasn't a great spot either way.
Well,
I would have maybe gone for the high medium that are east of him. You know, like
maybe
at least then you got some space. Yeah, whatever. At any rate, clearly Blues is the better spot. We'll just see if it balances out.
See if that extra steel mill makes up for it with Cubit right now.
Well, will Cubit use the black market? He can right now. Well, actually, he can't afford it. He doesn't have the money for it.
Right. That's the issue for the time being. He's close. He's getting there. I don't know if he's going to commit everything he has to it, especially because Blues is, both our players here really spreading out what they're doing.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I still maybe wouldn't mind seeing an EMP out of Blues. He's got that extra cash to spend if he wanted to. Although Cubit's the one selling down. Whoa, bought very heavily into electronics.
Interesting.
And then sold it all. Was just like, never mind, I'm going to buy oxygen. Never mind, I'm going to buy water. Cubit can't make a decision right now.
Yeah, Blues had the electronics he needed. This is one of the things I've changed recently with the AI is that they'll start to buy up the glass and the electronics they need ahead of time before they upgrade, and that's made a huge difference in their performance.
That is useful, because that was something you could always exploit with the AI, right?
Yeah.
Just always. But so that's
I love Blues grabbing that geotherm right next to Cubit.
Well, of course. Nice. There's no other geotherm to grab on this map, regardless of if there is another geotherm on this map.
Yeah, I think Cubit really should have grabbed it at level 2, especially since he had the extra claim.
That extra claim could have been argued for it, certainly.
It's his fault for losing it.
Well, there you go. Cubit got a nice little shortage.
What do you mean Cubit got it?
Oh, well, I mean, he bought into it very, very heavily.
Oh, I don't see him having any of it. Oh, he must have sold out of it. Well,
yeah, he did.
Fast.
Do you see that price graph behind it? It's pretty silly. All right, wind turbines for Cubit. Definitely like that decision with power where it is at this stage of the game.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually going to start producing power way before Blues does.
Yeah, well, that actually is a strong argument for his location, actually.
Yeah, the wind turbines definitely will help make up for things. And with the dry ice available, having to spend that carbon, not really all that bad. Makes me a little nervous for Blues, frankly, because I'm curious what he did with all his claims at this point. He took a water and a geotherm. There's one more claim he got. I'm not sure what he did with it, though.
Another geotherm.
Another geotherm. So it's just committing to those geotherms and not quite having the steel to get them up online quickly.
Cubit's in a much better position, though. Those two windmills are making more than the one geotherm, and he can swap out of them when they die.
Yeah. Well, that wind turbine buff, it's a pretty big deal.
Yep.
I really actually want to see a slowdown strike on them.
Yeah, I like where wind turbines are now because I think if you can build them, they're definitely better than solar panels. But the issue is, just a lot of the time, you don't want to build them because they're not next to your base.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I think it's really well balanced now.
This is really painful for Blues. He does not want to let this go. Like, this gives up one of his best possible advantages against Cubit if he lets Thinking Machines go. The thing is, Cubit's wanting to make money, so he doesn't push Thinking Machines all that high.
Yeah.
In the hopes that he can earn off of power.
Yeah, Blues got for a good price.
Yeah, that was a pretty good price for it. There's now the EMP. Needed that. That was absolutely necessary.
Wow, good thing he didn't hit that Goon Squad. Oh, man.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a mistake in the exact placement of the Goon Squad. Depending on how everything is panned out. But a lot of the time, players will just pick the tile closest to them.
Yeah.
Is one thing I've noticed. So if you just kind of push your Goon Squad close to a player, they'll hit it a lot.
I would have put it in the southeast wind turbine tile.
That is the one that defends your base most effectively.
Yeah, I mean, either you get the EMP or it forces him to EMP you farther away from the rest of your stuff. Either way, you win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is, I think, the middle ground effectively. Whereas the tile that Cubit selected, I don't know if there's actually literally a single advantage to putting it there. Dynamite.
And if beyond that, the EMP, well, I guess that's... No, never mind. I was going to say, it actually would have hit his own geotherm, but that's, of course, Goon Squadded as well. Oof, all of his buildings are off. Wow, I'm at power.
Well,
what can you switch into? Does dry ice still make sense? No, it's negative for power.
Food's a fantastic option right now.
Yeah, food doesn't consume much
high power price, low water price.
He's got the water, so yeah, that's a good move.
Still really nervous for Blues, though, because Cubit is doing one of the most important things in a 1v1 game when it's available, which is making power. Power can just be an access to cash that no one else has, and Blues knows it. He knows exactly how far behind he is purely because of these wind turbines.
Yep.
I mean, look at how much Cubit's making a second off of these.
Wow. Look how much... Yeah, he's got 26,000 in resources.
After upgrading.
30,000. Blues is still stuck at 6. It just keeps going up, up, up. For Blues, he's got 2... Well, second geotherm is just getting going now. Boy, that would take so long to build. Think of just how much faster he was able to get those wind turbines up compared to Blues's. It makes him wonder if he should have grabbed those tiles next to that canyon rim next to his headquarters and put wind turbines there instead of going for that geotherm.
Well, and another option would have been maybe... I think a big part of this was that Blues moved into water kind of as Cubit had that price held at $65 artificially.
Right.
If Cubit had just done something like go into Silicon, that could have worked out okay. You know, just eventually moving into solar panels.
Financial instruments.
Yeah, I mean, that's just 8,000 debt for Blues. I mean, right.
Yeah, well, it keeps the money from Cubit. That's about all. But
I don't know. Would Cubit have made enough off of financial instruments to actually be worth $8,000?
Yeah, I think he should let Cubit have taken it for 7, because that would have at least, they would have taken 7,000 away from Cubit.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know if it's going to make any amount of difference whatsoever, but too late to learn the lesson. But I guess I shouldn't rely on you to be too aggressive on bidding. That's true.
It's tough. Cubit doesn't make mistakes. That's his playstyle, basically.
Well, and Cubit is one of the top-level players that least falls into the trap of bidding on auctions, right? Most high-level players have this weakness of they see an auction and they have to have it. They won't let it go, period.
Yeah. Every auction has its price, where this is the right price for it. The best case is when an auction comes up that is much more valuable to you than your opponent.
Of course.
So... then you can take advantage of that. All right, what we're going to see hacked? It's not even oxygen.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, with the dry ice.
I guess. I mean, maybe could have gone electronics instead. Oh well, then this happens.
Ouch.
Because Cubit needed more advantages this game. Like, we weren't really sure if he was going to manage to take it after hitting HQ level 4 so fast.
Whoa.
$2 oxygen.
Wow, that was a gift.
Are we still going to let the shortage go through? I mean,
Blues is still not making any oxygen, so why not,
Yep, I guess. Blues is down to $25,000 of debt. Thing is, if we just go look, charts and graphs, Resources. Blues is auto sold 53,000 in power, bought 47. Cubit bought 26, auto sold 82. I mean, it's just, if you can make money from power, if it's viable, that game, it's always the best thing. Like, always, if you make money from it.
Those wind turbines.
And if you don't, it loses the game.
It was a great combo of building the wind turbines and the dry ice condensers at the same time, because dry ice condensers are going to make you plenty of money, and they basically give you the carbon to make the wind turbines.
Yeah. It was certainly a good decision out of Cubit, and I think it was so key. I don't even know where that plot is. Apparently these players don't care about it, but
yeah,
I think it was really key that he wasn't quite far enough behind that the wind turbines became unviable through the geothermal plants coming up. It's like, it's that downside when you try and use geotherms and you're not an expansive player. They are really expensive.
Yeah.
And they always take a long time to build.
I really appreciate that boosted electronics factor Cubit has off the dry ice condensers. A little thing a lot of players might not have thought of.
Yeah, the one electronics factory.
Although it's actually losing him quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
So never mind.
Well, because it only looks that way because of carbon being held up so high. It's not actually losing him money right now. It just looks like
right,
it is.
because Cubit's sitting on a... Yeah, you know, that's funny. That's another thing that, like, once you get to a really high level, you have to start looking at prices differently, because the price of something is a lie if you're have this gigantic stockpile.
Yeah, well, prices are always a lie, but how much they're a lie depends on what your stockpile of resources is.
Yeah, and it depends on how many people play in the game. In an 8-player game, you kind of basically have to treat price as reality.
Yeah, because you're not going to be able to track all the different stockpiles.
Yeah, but in a 2-player game, totally different.
Revolting colony expanded.
GameSlayer says Cubit just killed Blues. I imagine that is exactly what's about to happen, considering Blues has upgraded to HQ
again.
level 5.
Wow, you just cannot... Blues is an amazing free-for-all player. 4 players or more, especially 6-player. 2-player is kind of a different world for him, I think.
I think so. I agree for the most part. I like this solar panel play. It's bold. It's innovative.
Wow, that's fascinating. I'm not even sure what's going to happen here. I think it's actually going to work.
It would have been really hilarious if that sort of thing happened earlier this game.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, you're at a choke point where you can only fit out like 3 buildings, and your opponent just builds 3 solar panels when he hits HQ level 3? That would have been hilarious.
Oh.
I gotta think about that in the future.
Yep. Well, this is a very good display of Cubit's ability to read the map and adapt in this game.
But yeah, building wind turbines, you don't see that a lot.
Yeah, we were negative on that starting location, but it is true that if you're hemmed in, there's probably the reason for that, if you're on a plateau, is you've got some good wind locations.
Yeah, he was able to exploit his primary advantage over Cubit, I would say, which was his easier access to power. And on this map, that was very, very important. As we pointed out right at the start, it was an American colony.
You know, I really think building geotherms as robotic is a big mistake. I mean, they're very expensive. I mean, that's one of the reasons why it's great to found next to a geotherm. If you found next to a geotherm, go for it, right? Mm-hmm. But if you don't, like, build power next to your base. They boost your buildings.
I liked the first geotherm out of Blues. I liked the 1. I didn't like the 2.
Yeah, one is fine. I'm not going to argue with 1, but the whole point is that, like, you're going to need power with robotic. So build some next to your base, get yourself a boost for some of your buildings, and just make sure that what you just saw here didn't happen, where the other player makes a whole bunch of money off of power and you don't.
Well, I will also say the only reason that Blues would have built a geotherm, 2 of them, is because it will work most of the time. Mm-hmm. It will, but it was just maybe not reading this exact map effectively, because this map, you had that extra source of power to worry about that you don't usually have to, which is the wind turbines. If it was just solar panels, you can shut those down with black market well enough that they generally won't get in your way. Yeah. If it was geotherms, they would have taken forever.
Yeah, and I will say that for sure, Blues grabbing that geotherm that was just a couple tiles from Cubit space. I mean, that's a great move, definitely. Just no doubt about that. But the point is when the power peaked, Cubit was able to get his wind turbines up in like 10 seconds. Whereas at that same time, Blues was trying to build that geotherm across the other side of the map. I mean, the price of power probably dropped $100 by the time from when he started trying to build a geotherm.
Yeah, and that whole time he's just consuming it too. So
yeah. you don't think of shipping for energy, but it's kind of the same concept, right?
Yeah. And that was another thing that Cubit at that stage of the game had going for him, for the most part, was just he wasn't really shipping a whole lot of stuff at all at that point.
Yep.
Whereas Blues, he kind of already had some water established. Eventually, I believe, moved into Silicon. Yeah. Up in that corner. Just a little awkward. Weird game.
Cubit